According to the USDA, from 2020 to 2024, the price of food has risen by 23.6%. We have all experienced the pain in el supermercado, and in this video, I want to share 15 things that I do to save money on groceries, sometimes cutting my bill by 40%. 1. Breakfast like a king. Every morning, I basically eat the same thing for breakfast. 2 to 3 eggs, a large serving of fruit, toast with peanut butter, yogurt, and orange juice. I breakfast like a king and eat a lot because when I do this, it keeps me full, energized, and not seeking snacks throughout the day, saving me money and keeping me more focused. 2. Reverse grocery shopping. Reverse grocery shopping is looking at what you already have and making meals around that instead of buying new things. For example, when I look at my own food supply, I have oats and toppings for 7 more breakfasts, the ingredients to make enchiladas, tacos, and quesadillas for about 3 meals, and some tomato sauce and frozen meatballs for pasta or a meatball sub. At first glance, I don't have that much food, but by reverse grocery shopping, I realize I still have about a week's worth of food if I get creative, which can help me delay grocery shopping and save a little bit more money and use up what I already have. 3. Eat in the order of expiration. Oftentimes, people make meals based on what they want that day. However, this can cause you to waste food because it could go bad before you end up eating it. It's better to eat in the order of expiration. For example, if you have chicken that's been sitting for 2 days, asparagus that's starting to get old, and some unused side dishes, make that first to avoid wasting them. Make sure you eat up food before it goes bad, that way you don't waste money. 4. Cook once, eat 3 times. I'll be honest, I do not love cooking, and one of the reasons I don't love cooking is probably because I have a tiny kitchen that is not fun to cook in. And so when I do cook, I always make sure that I have enough for 3 meals. 1 for the day of, and 2 for leftovers. In my opinion, a meal is good 3 times within a week, but after that 3rd time, it starts to get old. So whenever you're doing the task of cooking food, you might as well cook 3 times what you need, so you have leftovers when you don't want to cook. 5. Always have a few frozen meals in the freezer. Some days I do not want to cook, but I also don't want to spend $15 to $20 getting a quick bite to eat. And so I always make sure that I have a few frozen meals on hand that are easy for those days that I just do not want to cook. Like my go-tos is Trader Joe's orange chicken, which is about $3 per serving, and frozen meatballs for about $2. Always have a few frozen meals on hand for those days that you do not want to cook, so you don't avoid the temptation of spending $15 to $20 getting a quick bite to eat. Next, have go-to lunch ideas. A huge money waster that many people do is eating out every day for lunch at work, which can add up to over $75 a week. In one way that I avoid the temptation of eating out too much for lunch is having these go-to lunch ideas that are easy to make and I don't mind eating over and over. For example, my go-to lunches are sandwiches, grilled cheeses, leftovers, and macaroni and cheese, so I make sure I keep these stocked at all times. Just like breakfast, for lunch, I tend to eat very similar things every single day. And by having these go-to lunch ideas, you can avoid the temptation of spending a lot more money eating out. 7. Don't drink your calories. One of the biggest silent wasters of money is what I like to call liquid calories, like sodas, sports drinks, or artificial drinks that have huge price tags and no nutritional value. I mean, if you drink a soda every single day, that can add up to over $1,000 in a year. So eat your calories, don't drink them. 8. Choose your grocery store wisely. When it comes to food, where you choose to shop is almost more impactful than what you buy. Grocery stores like Whole Foods can cost over 20% more than cheaper grocery stores like Aldi, Lidl, and Costco. Although most grocery stores sell the exact same items, you can save sometimes up to 20 to 30% just based on choosing to shop at these cheaper grocery stores. 9. Be aware of repetitive BOGO deals. One of the more expensive grocery stores here in Georgia is called Publix. However, one thing that Publix has over other grocery stores are their buy one, get one free deals. And when you pay attention, these 50% savings are actually very repetitive. For example, I know that once a month dog treats will be buy one, get one free. And so every so often I will go to Publix and see if they're on sale. And when they are, I will stock up, which will save me 50% off or $7 a bag. Since getting Star, I have never paid full price on dog treats because I know that once a month Publix will have them buy one, get one free. So be aware of these repetitive deals. 10. Be aware of digital deals. Nowadays, most grocery stores have apps that offer digital coupons that can help you save a lot of money on some actually good items. And I have noticed that these digital coupons are often advertised right at the front of the store to get your attention, like this week's strawberries were the digital deal. Download these apps and just be aware of these new types of coupons that can help you save money on some of the things you want. 11. Avoid the center of the grocery store. Pretty much every grocery store in the world is set up the exact same, where on the edges of the store you have the fresh, healthy foods, and in the center of the store is the processed, unhealthy foods. In order to save money and have a healthy diet, it's important that you do most of your shopping on the edges of the grocery store. But if you do some shopping in the center aisles, shop at the top or bottom of shelves. A common marketing strategy that grocery stores will use is putting the expensive name brand stuff in the center and the cheaper generic brands at the top or bottom of the shelves, because most grocery shoppers will default to only looking at the center, overlooking the cheaper stuff. Whenever you're at the grocery store aisles, do most of your shopping at the top or the bottom of the shelves because these are where the cheaper items are. 13. Focus on price per tag. Something that I think that many people aren't aware of is pretty much at all grocery stores, when you look at the price tag, in the corner there is a price per measurement tag. And this is your guide for finding the lowest prices. For example, generic black beans are 5.7 cents an ounce, and name brand is 8.5 cents an ounce. So this one is cheaper. Use these tags as your guide to find the cheapest prices, and also think in percentages. In that past example, price-wise, it doesn't seem that different, as it's only a 50-cent difference. However, when you think in percentages, it is actually drastically cheaper. The generic is 32% cheaper than the name brand. Instead of thinking I saved 50 cents by getting the generic, think that I saved 32% by getting the generic brand. And if you do this for all your items, you could potentially cut your grocery bill by 30%. So think in percentages. And finally, pay the farmer, not the doctor. Saving money on food is important. However, that should never come at the cost of having a diet of unhealthy foods, because the truth is, you can either spend a tad more and pay the farmer who makes natural foods, or you can pay the big food companies for terrible foods and then pay the doctor in high medical bills. In the long run, it is much cheaper to spend a little bit more money getting good quality food than trying to save money in the short term and having a bunch of health problems leading you to high medical bills. And those are the 15 ways that I save money on my food bill. With that, muchas gracias, que tengan un buen día, nos vemos chicos.